discussing the acceptable use policy for a university. So, one, purpose: providing an efficient and reliable computing and networking service as well as access to communications devices to staff, students, and alumni depends on the cooperation of all users. It is therefore important that you, as a user, are aware of your responsibilities. The purpose of this policy is to provide all users of the university's IT resources with clear guidance on the acceptable, safe, and legal way in which they can use the university's IT and network resources. By using any of the university's IT and network resources, you agree to comply with the terms of the policy. This policy is without prejudice to the right to privacy as protected by the Construction and the European Convention on Human Rights. 2. Policy scope. This policy covers documentation of policy procedures and standards relating to university information assets, university IT and network resources. This policy applies to all users of the university's IT resources, which include, without limitation, its network accessed on-site or remotely, and/or communications devices here and thereafter the university's IT resources. This policy takes precedence over any policies which may be developed at a local level: Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, email. Three roles and responsibilities. 3.1 IT services. IT services is responsible for monitoring use of university IT resources to ensure the policy is not breached, acting on breaches to this policy and bringing any breaches to the attention of DEW, e.g., or external hosting group. C. IT policy breach. 3.2. Each user is responsible for complying with the policy and all other relevant policies and procedures, ensuring all passwords assigned to them are kept confidential. 4.1. Principles of acceptable use. This policy is based on the following principles. First, users must use the university's IT resources and university's information assets in a responsible, safe, and lawful manner. Second, users must respect the integrity of computer systems, communication devices, and networks to which they have access. Third, users must respect the integrity of the data to which they have access. Fourth, users must store and process university data in compliance with records management policy and relevant data protection legislation. Users must follow any standards and guidelines, including those set out in this policy, relating to the use of the university's IT resources and university information assets. 4. Acceptable use. Users must not use the university's IT resources to, first, other than in the course of performing their duties, knowingly accessing, download, or distribute illegal or inappropriate material, including material that is in a way pornographic, obscene, abusive, racist, libelous, defamatory, or threatening. Second, engage in any form of bullying or other behavior which is illegal or likely to cause harassment to others. Third, use social media to degrade, bully, or internationally offend staff, students, or other users, or use these tools to bring the reputation of the university into disrepute. Please reference the university's social media policy for more details. Gain unauthorized access to the account, systems, or equipment of any third party. Attempts at hacking may result in criminal prosecution in Ireland or elsewhere. Use of another's user account. Perform any activities which contravene the laws of the state or the destination country in the case of data being transmitted abroad. Undertake commercial activities or otherwise further commercial objectives which are not part of your work studies in the university. 8. Infringe the copyright, patent, or other intellectual property rights of any person, including by downloading unlicensed software or other unauthorized materials. Ninth, infringe the data protection or other privacy rights of any person. Please refer to the data protection policy. 10th, use of university systems or resources to facilitate plagiarism or cheating in exams or assignments. 11th, access, modify, or interfere with computer material, data, display, or storage media belonging to the university or other user except with their permission. 12th, connect unauthorized equipment to the university network. 13th, load or execute unlicensed software or other material on the university's IT resources where there is likely to breach the licensing conditions or other intellectual property rights. 14th, knowingly introduce any virus, malware, or other destructive program or device into the university's system or network. The user should take all reasonable steps to ensure that they do not inadvertently introduce such programs or devices into the systems or network. Store sensitive or confidential university data on personal devices. If you process or intend processing personal data about others on a computer, you are obliged to comply with the provisions of the Data Protection Act 2018 as amended, updated or replaced from time to time, and the university's data protection policy. The university IT resources are to support the activities of the university, although limited personal use of university IT resources is allowed. The usage should never conflict with the primary business purpose for which they have been provided and the university's responsibilities. 4.3 Passwords and access. Users have a responsibility to safeguard any credentials granted to them by the university in order to limit security risks. All users must abide by the following. Attempts should not be made to bypass or render ineffective security measures provided by the university. Do not share user IDs or usernames. Divulge passwords to others, seek to impersonate other users, leave their computer unattended without logging out or locking. User passwords must not be shared between users except that they are released as a part of approved procedure. An approved procedure exists for releasing passwords where accounts are required and staff are unavailable. Procedure relating to access by or disclosure to a third party of information is a staff member's files or email accounts. 4.4 Email. Each staff member within the university is provided with an email account to assist with their work for the university. Each registered student and graduate of the university is provided with an email account for their use. This account is the primary way that the university will communicate with students, graduates, and alumni. Email account holders must comply at all times with this policy. The email account of a staff member and any information contained in it, including content, headers, directories, and email system logs, remain the property of the university. Usage of the email systems for academic and professional purposes is encouraged. Journals, review papers, professional bodies, etc. Incidental use of email account for personal purposes is allowed and is subject to the same policies and regulations and as official use. However, systemic use on behalf of individuals or organizations that are not associated with the university or its business is not allowed. Users are responsible for the integrity of their mailbox. IT services cannot restore emails deleted accidentally or otherwise. All email messages may be subject to Freedom of Information Act 2014, as amended, updated, replaced from time to time, arising out of the need to protect the university's network. The university cannot guarantee the confidentiality of information stored on any network device belonging to the university. Great care should be taken when attaching documents where the correct information is being released. All email should be regarded as a written formal letter. Any defamatory or careless remarks can have serious consequences. The use indecent, obscene, sexist, racist, or other inappropriate remarks, whether in written form, in cartoon form, or otherwise, is strictly prohibited. To prevent computer viruses being transmitted through the network, care must be taken when dealing with suspect email and attachments of unknown origin is received. Suspect emails should be deleted immediately and never forwarded to other users. Staff and students are not authorized to retrieve or read email messages that are not sent to them except when authorized under the approved procedure. 4.5 Bulk email. All those who wish to send bulk email to staff in the university, including formal email lists, must comply with the following. Do not send email to the list which are obscene, abusive, or threatening. Be courteous and show tolerance towards other users of the list. Be mindful of the fact that any messages will be widely published. Therefore, users are expected to exercise restraint when voicing controversial opinions. In particular, they must respect the variety of cultures and beliefs that are likely to be represented across a large audience. Ensure that any messages they send cannot be construed as being in a way defamatory. For information on defamatory statements, please contact the Office of Corporate and Legal Affairs. Ensure that they do not damage the reputation of the university or undermine its overall mission. Take care not to forward emails that were intended only for them to bulk distribution lists such as all Exchange users. Take care to minimize the negative impact or disruption on other users of the email system. For this reason, forthcoming events should be publicized using the events calendar, not on the mailing lists. Chain letters, emails of any sort should not be sent. There must not be third party commercial advertising using email lists. Unauthorized email advanced by UCLA, HR, or head of student experience. Messages originating elsewhere in a private capacity must not be forwarded to the list without the permission of the original sender. Only material is keeping with the purpose of the list should be sent, and in particular should not include messages for which other dedicated services are approved. Some lists for official announcements only, e.g., all staff, all academic department user, or all admin department users. These lists will be used for formal communication from designated university offices to staff. Permission to send to these lists will be restricted and authorization will be granted by members of the UMTS on request. Replies to this type of message must not be sent to the whole list. All formal university business will use these lists. Messages must be kept short as possible and must contain only text. Images, logos, watermarks, backgrounds are not permitted since they greatly increase the size of a message. Emails to the list must not include any attachments. Where there is a need to provide staff with copies of reports or forms, these shall be made available on the web and a link to the document included in the message. In general, messages should be sent only once. Exceptional official reminders and security safety related messages may be reported. In the event of an IT security issue, the university reserves the right to stop bulk email lists until the threat has been mitigated. Internet. The university's internet connections are intended for activities associated with the functions of the university, the exercise by users of their responsibilities and duties, the professional academic development of staff and students. Internet access and email shall not, for example, be used for the following: personal gain or profit, to represent yourself as somebody else, to advertise or otherwise support or engage in illegal activities, to provide lists or information about the university or the university staff or students to others, and or to send other confidential information without approval. Personal websites. The university recognizes that from time to time staff or students of the university will set up websites, blogs, or with kids that, while related to their academic or professional disciplines, are personal sites and not formal university sites. The purpose of these rules is to strike the appropriate balance for providing colleagues with the academic freedom to engage in open disclosure while also protecting the reputation of the university and that of its staff and students. In addition, these rules ensure that individual views and opinions discussed openly in such websites are not portrayed as a formal position of the university. 47.1 University Use of university trademark and logo. Personal websites should not display the university crest, logo, or the university trademarked copyrighted materials including university designs or otherwise appears to be an official university webpage unless without the permission of the Office of Corporate and Legal Affairs. Personal websites hosted on university infrastructure must not be used for commercial purposes in a way which conflicts with the university conflict of interest policy. 4.7.2 Use of disclaimer. Open personal websites. You are required to identify views expressed as your own and do not hold yourself out as representing the university. If you identify yourself as being a member of staff of the university, make clear that any views expressed are not necessarily those of the university. Accordingly, all personal websites created and placed on the university's web servers and or displaying university or copyrighted material must include the creator's name and on each page the following statement. A disclaimer applies to this page. The word disclaimer in the statement shall be a link to the following disclaimer. This website is the personal responsibility of the person named in the website. Statements made and opinions expressed on personal websites are strictly those of the authors and not university. The university does not preview, monitor, approve, or endorse the content of personal websites and does not accept responsibility for any loss, damage, harm, or injury occasioned by the contents of such websites, including, without limitation, content which may be unlawful, offensive, harmful, threatening, abusive, harassing, torturous, defamatory, vulgar, obscene, discriminatory, libelous, invasive, or another's privacy, hateful, or racially, ethnic, or otherwise objectionable material or content which otherwise infringes the rights of any third party or any person used. The university is not responsible for material contained or links connected to personal websites and cannot be held liable for the contents. 4.7.3 Limitations on use of personal websites. Use of personal website, the use of personal websites for the following purposes is strictly prohibited. Any use which may have effect of violating any laws or exposing the university to unacceptable legal risk. Any use which may adversely impact the university computing or network resources. Any use which the university considers to be defamatory or libelous. Any use which may infringe the rights of any third party in respect of personal data, intellectual property, or other confidential or proprietary information, making accessible materials which could have effect or of damaging the reputation, goodwill of the university, or otherwise in breach of this policy. These provisions are not intended to curtail normal, normal academic discourse as guaranteed by S. 14 of the Universities Act 1997, but to provide an appropriate platform for this disclosure that complies with the law of the land and one which does not damage the university or other parties. The university reserves the right to remove personal websites or links to externally located personal website when the limitations set out above are breached, or where the staff members resigns, retires, or a student graduates or leaves. Decisions regarding the removal of personal websites and or links to externally located personal websites for any reason will be made by the DEWG. For more information, please refer to the Web and Social Media Policy, where urgent action is required in relation to a personal website or associated links, e.g., the event of breach of this policy, and it is not possible to consult the Digital Estate Working Group at the time available, then the chairperson of the committee or his or her nominee can decide on action to be taken. The decision must be ratified by the committee at the earliest opportunity. Where the decision is not ratified, and then the situation must be restored as closely as possible to which exists before the action was taken. So that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. So please consider like, sharing, and subscribing. Thank you.